Would you believe, folks, that this is my daughter's school's theme song? On Eye of the Tiger and Special Survivor, I guess they call my daughter's team the Tigers. And this is their theme song. I don't know what to think of it, really. Alright, cut it. Yes, shut the song off. Thank you. I have no idea why they call my daughter's school the Tigers. And I got to thinking this week, what other names are there? I found out there's Lions, Devils, what do they call them? The Warriors, or the other one, the Bulldogs or something. Anyways, I don't get it. I really don't get these schools. But this is a whole nother topic. This week in the news, we've seen a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff going on with police officers hurting people. Recently now I found that it was emailed to us, our email, wildandwackywade@yahoo.com, and it was emailed to me that a high-ranking member of police, his chief, I guess that's a title, chief of police or director or whatever it was. He sexually assaulted a inebriated woman, meaning she was drunk, brought in, and he sexually assaulted her. That's on top of the Walmart incident, on the freeway that everybody saw. I even posted that one on my Facebook. That's another one, a person in the mall, a mentally handicapped person in the mall was assaulted. I don't get it. I don't know why. And last week we talked in detail, so I'm not going to go on a rant here this week on the program, because last week we did. And we got letters and emails and all sorts of stuff last week from doing it. I don't want to go in and do it again this week. But and nobody is stepping forward to come on my show and have an interview with me. No one's stepping forward. I asked last week if you are in law enforcement, if you know what's going on, if you know anything more than I do about this subject. I know a lot, studied up on it, looked up, did stuff. You know how it goes on this program. Did a lot of research for it. No one's stepping forward. I wrote a letter to somebody to ask if they would like to be on the show, and they declined me, telling me basically I was an idiot for asking. And as I sit here and talk outside, you can hear the sirens go by, so they're probably going to do it again. Anyways, this week on the program, we'll be talking about in the news. We're going to be talking about our show. Our show is here on www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. And I realize that you guys know this. You're sitting here listening to this, but the people that hear me on YouTube, I have my shows archived on YouTube, are not listening to this. So I got to say it so they can hear it, so they know to come up live here on the program and listen to me. Our phones have not been working. Made several complaints upstairs, and they told me, we got a guy on it. Well, the guy ain't doing nothing about it. So you have to write to me. At least this week you have to write to me. By next week we're going to have the phones up. We're going to have them operating. We're going to have those in good standing for you. I also am going to look into something a little bit better than what we have for you on the program. Guests are coming up in the works of getting some special guests coming up on the show, getting other things manageable. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm talking about what's going on in the show, and you're fidgeting over there. What are you doing? What's wrong with the board? Can you hear me? Okay, can they hear me? Okay, then what are you fidgeting with the board for? Oh, brother. All right, fine. You do your job, I do my job. My job is to talk. Then when you screw up everything, you can answer to me later. All right. Oh, God, I really need some new people in here. Well, you're an intern. You are an intern. All right, whatever. Well, anyways, I just told to mind my own business as they fidget and fuss and play around with stuff. Let's go back to what's in the news. Every day I go down and I get the paper. And I take a look at what's in the news. And I find that I'm disturbed. I'm highly disturbed. I'm highly irrational. I'm highly corrupted. I'm highly sickened. Maybe the word is sickened. Sick to my stomach. Tired of vomiting in a barf bag, so to speak, about what I see. So I walk in to the Bella's store there that I go to. And what do I see sitting there but on the shelf? A picture of a man with young girls and two young guys around him. And he has their arm around them and stuff. And I'm thinking, what's going on now? New York Post, and then now in the Daily News, the paper. We have that here. Wall Street Journal hasn't really got anything on it. So I pick up the paper and I start looking at it while I put my order of wings in like I normally do, and I start looking at the paper. Apparently a teacher has been fooling around with children again. Well, this is nothing new. It hasn't been on my program, but it's been on other programs that adults, I don't know if I'm going to call them adults or sickos, have done that, have fooled with, played with, done something to children. We're talking ages younger than 17, because I realize you guys in Florida and the other states write to me and say 17, 17, 17, you can get married, 17, we can do that. Okay, fine. Younger than 17 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old, I don't know. They were younger than 17. And what the paper is saying is this guy got hired by the school district, and they knew he had a background. Well, I know for a fact that they do research. I know for a fact they do a lot of research on your background when you become a teacher. I have friends that are teachers. I have families that have retired from the teaching business, and they do a lot of background stuff. They do a lot of research. They do a lot of looking into you, so to speak. They do a lot of investigating. They do a lot of structured interviewing and questioning before they let you even enter the field. And that's after you've gone to college and done all this stuff. So you go to college, you spend all that money on that. A whole nother show is college expenses. But then they do all this stuff for you. So what I'm telling you is, what? Yeah. College, I'm not going to tell you the price of college. You know it is. They're sitting there asking me what the college price is. That's because you never went. You never paid attention. You got here. You had to do something. Anyways, they do that, and then they go in the teaching field. So you have some background. Well, I know for a fact that when they do background checks, they look for certain things. For instance, I'm going to give you a good example. Background checks for school bus drivers. That was in the news recently. Background checks for school bus drivers are intense for the fact that not only your driving record comes up, but let's say you got a divorce and it didn't go so well. That can be used against you as a school bus driver. A background, let's say, indecency or something. Let's say a background of traffic tickets, or, say you went to a bar and you got into a fight or something. They could use that and say that you're not suitable for working or managing or driving or in an environment where children are. So why then, if they go to all of this stuff, all of this money And yes, it costs money to do a background check. I think it's almost up to $200 to do one thoroughly and get it right. Get it right is the key here, folks. Okay, that's what the paper was bitching and complaining about. All right. So here we are. Yes, $200 goes in the background. What goes into a background check? All right, folks. Good question. Your background, your what you've done, your past jobs, your past lifestyle, all this stuff. Not just criminal stuff. Other stuff like you got speeding tickets. Maybe you got some police details of them coming over to your house. Let's say for loud music. So you were disrespectful, rowdy, a public nuisance or something. That's all in there. Okay? And it takes time, it takes money. They got to find files. Sometimes it's old. And that's another thing of how far back do they go before it is considered to be old stuff. And my point is, if someone is going to go back far enough and go back high enough in the order of background checking, then why not catch some of this stuff? Why can't they catch the stuff they need to make sure that you're okay for what you're doing? And I agree with the paper. I agree with these reporters. I agree with these investigators that have done it for the paper. I agree that you should be doing what you're supposed to be doing in that office when you do these things. You're spending up to $200 making sure someone is okay to do something. And obviously you didn't do it. Now the key thing is, why is he still employed? And that's another thing they were talking about, that this person is still employed. He's still working. He still has a job. Being employed meaning he still has a job. He's still doing his job. He's not been told to stop doing his job. And he hasn't had any consequences, penalties, or whatever they do. Because they're union, hint, hint, they're union teachers are. Whatever they do to get him to stop doing what he's doing as far as a job. Now, I'm not saying he's fired. They could be leaved. They can take a leave of absence. They can take him somewhere else and make him a janitor or something. I don't know. I'm not for somebody ever being fired. He may have a family. He may have a wife. He may be totally innocent. He may be totally innocent. Let me say it again a third time, so you people that write to me and call in and think that I'm after this guy, he may be totally innocent. But if he's not suitable for what they put him in, he should be put somewhere else. It's like if you think I ain't suitable upstairs in those offices, and I know you're listening, for talk show, then you'll put me somewhere else. And if you put me as a janitor, I'm only going to bitch, moan, complain, and rant on anyway, so you might as well have me in front of the microphone. And it's my show, so I should be doing my show. You can't have the Wild Wacky Wade show without Wade, right? Yes, I know. All right. We're here coming up on a break. So when we return, I think we're going to change the subject and rant about something else, folks. It's time that last week we talked about all of this. Last week we talked heavily into this and into the police officers that have been doing wrong. Again, we're retouching on that. So we will be right back right after this. And we're back. While I was on break, I looked up something. It's something pretty interesting. A background check is structured around certain things. So let's say they look for crime in your background. The background in that area of your life will come up if they're looking for. So if they're looking for a driving record, that's the background that'll come up. Looking for crimes that were committed, that's the background that'll come up. If they're looking for stupid stuff you've done, like, I don't know, fight at a bar or something, or public nuisance or something, that stuff will come up in your background. So it's not really catered to every little thing you've ever done wrong and all of that. There are types like that, but they don't do them for certain jobs. And school districts go by your criminal background more so than your nuisance background. So, and again, if anybody knows anything about this, write to me and tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm right, tell me what's going on with this, because I want to know. I want to know what's going on. I want to know if backgrounds are this way or that way, so I can come up here and put out the right information. But this is the information I have so far. That's the information that I'm doing. That's the information I'm giving to you, the listener. I don't really think background checks are sometimes good, because if they bring up something and the person has really changed their lifestyle, let's say, you got into a fight in a bar. It was 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, back maybe when you were in college, then they now have you marked for being someone that starts fights in bars, when really you haven't gone into another bar since you've gotten out of college. You're married, you have a family, and you've never gone to a bar again, but now they have you marked as somebody who does that. I don't understand it. I'm glad I didn't have to go for one to get on here. Not only knows what's in, and that's another thing. You don't know what's in your background unless they do a background check, which to me is very, very silly, very, very dumb, very, very out of place, very, very unorganized, so to speak. Why would you not know what's in there? And that's something that I'm going to do some research on, because maybe there's something out there. There's not. I'm a good person, so to speak. Maybe there's something I don't know about, and then how would you fight it? If you did find something, how would you fight it? How would you tell them, no, that's not true, no, that's not right, no, that's not okay? How would you do that? Or can you? Or can't you? Or is the background just based on whatever they got on you? So let's say they, say, oh, this person or that person is crazy. So now the background is that person is crazy. And that background is sitting there saying that person's crazy, but no one's really checked into it. No one's really said if they were crazy or not. You know what I mean? Kind of weird, isn't it? Kind of scary. That's a whole nother show. It's the scary stuff that people can know about you, and you don't know it. But I suspect that if you are doing stuff wrong, if you are doing stuff out of place, doing stuff you're not supposed to, then I suspect maybe you'd already know it. And I would suspect your background would show it already. I suspect. I mean, I could be totally wrong here. But I would suspect that you would already know it. Now, whether you would tell somebody about it or not, that might be a whole nother story in itself. But maybe we should do a show on this. Maybe we should have somebody's out there again, and you know information about this, and you want to hit us a line about it, or talk about it even on the show, let me know. Because I'm kind of complexed that somebody could know stuff and you not know it, unless you got the background check. So anything out there could be out there and you not know it. Which kind of scares me, because what happens if there's something about me out there? I mean, there's not. I've been background checked and worked and checked me third. They did check me when you come in here. They check your status of your shows and that you're a decent person. But say there's somebody out there that has something on their record, like, they owe a traffic ticket, or they're weird or dumb or crazy or something. And would somebody know it that's not supposed to know it? Would somebody know it that doesn't need to know it? I don't know. Something to think about, folks. Something to think about. And I don't really know where to go with this subject anymore. I have to have more information. I'm going to have to do a lot of research on this before I come back and give you an answer to it. But what? Well, yeah, see, I'm trying to convey to these people the same thing I just told you, is that if somebody knows something about you that shouldn't know something about you, it can be dangerous. I mean, say something like somebody knows you were in a fight in a bar because they looked up your information online. There's online things that you can go into, and you can get people's information. You can pay. Like I said, it could be up to $200. But this one site says for $50 you can find out somebody's background, anybody. So like say you're dating somebody, and somebody says, hey, I want to find out about somebody. I'm not saying it's a guy it's crazy. Maybe a woman's crazy. Maybe it's the woman that's crazy and the guy wants to know if she's crazy. Find out if she's been divorced, her criminal record, crazy stuff she's done. But how accurate? I mean, how do they find out? How do these agencies find out? Are they buying information? Are they just throwing information out there? Do police report to these agencies? I mean, is it some kind of conspiracy that we're dealing with here, that somebody is knowing something about us when agency? I don't know. I don't know if it's right or not. What? Yes, anybody, any information you want about you. I could right now go up on the internet to you and get information about you. You're sitting right across from me at that board, helping me with my show, and I can find anything I want about you. Well, yeah, you got kicked out of that bar. Maybe it's up there on what you did. You never told me what you did. Well, I realize it's none of my business, but I can find out. I'm not going to. Folks, I'm not going to find out what the information is on there, but they don't want to be known. They never want to be known on who helps me with my show. You don't want to be known, so I can't talk about you that much. Fine. But like I said, if you got any information, write to us. The Wild and Wacky Wade Show here. Our email is wildandwackywade@yahoo.com. If you're listening to us live, we appreciate you. If you're listening to archives, we appreciate you too. The place to go to find out information about the show is www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. It's WDBN. Diversity Broadcasting Network. You can find out a lot of information, a lot of other shows. I'm not sure who comes up after me. Kind of hoping it's that DJ. He's got wonderful music, by the way. And I know he's going to hear this, so you got wonderful music, but you never play my favorite songs. He never plays any of my requests. I always leave him a note to play something, and it's never played. So, folks, if you got any information, you got anything you want to add to the show, I'm checking the emails here. Okay, one person writes here. As always, I keep the emails, keep them kind of confidential on who writes them so they don't, Anyways, they write to me and they say that a background check can be anywhere about anything, okay? And they go on to explain how you can go online and get a background check as low as $35 and find out a whole bunch of stuff that may even be wrong. That's what I said. Where do they find out this stuff? How do they find it out? And then another person here is writing to me. They said that my background should be checked. What's on it? There's nothing on it, I can assure you. Stop it. Stop thinking that I'm some crazy weirdo sitting behind a microphone. Now a lot of people are going to be requesting my background. Wild and Wacky Wade at yahoo.com is the email. And I really don't understand why you have to write to me telling me that I'm crazy. One person just did that. All right, our phone systems are not working that properly. I am the one that suffers with the phone system. While they do, they basically What's happening is they have to get a new system. The old system is old, so they get a new system and update, and every time they update, I suffer. I'm the last guy to get anything around here. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you are the last person to get anything. What? Maybe I should background check them? Yes, maybe I should. Maybe we should background check the guy to see if he is crazy and we should get rid of him and get a new guy that does the phones or the maintenance or electronics or whatever he does, whatever his position is. I don't know. Maybe he's working for free because his background is bad and he had to do some community service. That's funny. I know people have done that. Yeah. Well, I believe most of my friends probably have had to do some community service at some point in time in their life. But one of my friends got sent to a cat shelter. It's where they take in cats and they adopt cats. And she got scratched in her face. And so she didn't come into work. So I guess she got to work for some kind of benefits or something. I'm not sure what they did. Or whatever the deal was that she got sent down there. So she got in trouble for it. But I just think it's funny that they made her work in a cat place. She didn't like cats. That's probably what? Yes. No. I wouldn't work there. I'm allergic to cats. You know that. What punishment? What have I done to be punished? Oh, for my punishment. Oh, well, yes. That probably would be a good punishment. I probably would. I don't know if I'd learned my lesson. What would I do wrong? Why would I do that? That's stupid. Why would I do that? Alright, whatever. Anyways, it is time now is 27 minutes after 10. Or so. This time I watch. 27 minutes after 10, folks. WDBN Radio. www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. We got to take another little break. And we will be right back. And we're back. Oh boy. So, while I took this little break, I decided to have the person across from me here look up some information. And it anywhere from $35 all the way up to $300. Do background check. Get a background check on anyone. All you have to do is know their name. So I typed my own name in there and I found 3 things. But each of the people that were there with my name on it. It was not in this area. In other words, there's other people with my name. And I looked up the person's name across from me over here. No, I didn't find out what you did. Drop what you did. I don't care what you did. And 6 names came up in that name. So I typed in another friend's name. Not going to say who it is. That came up with 3 names of that person. Not even where they live. So I don't understand any of this stuff. What you do is you go on this site. And I'm not going to say what it is. I tried 2 of them. And for kind of like for free or something here, you type in a person's name and it'll tell you who it is. You got to find it with a list of people and a list of things. But none of them were any of the people I know. So this may even be really weird, okay? Maybe crazy, maybe weird, may not even work. I don't know. I'm pretty sure maybe it doesn't work because obviously the people aren't who they are and where they are, and the names are all messed up, and the cities they live in are all messed up. And then there's one there that you can find people. So I typed in my name. Of course, where I am is wrong, but I am in New York. So that's wrong too, so I'm not sure really how this happens. How do you find people or background people? But we just now tried it, and it doesn't work. So let's go back to the emails and see what we got here, because the phones don't work. Let's go to the emails. What do we got? Somebody is telling me that it does work. They actually found what they've done wrong on it. Okay? Another person here is telling me it does work, but it's not always accurate information. Anyone can make a site. That's true. Anybody can make any site they want, and anybody can put anything they want on it. So it might not even be right. And that there's scams out there. Yes, that's true. All right. Time to go to something different. What? Oh, yes. Our friend who got his car hit by the railroad tracks. What do you want me to do? Tell him the story? I've told the story before. Okay. My friend was driving, and he kind of got himself a little off track. We're not sure if he drank a little or did something. And he ended up driving down the railroad track. And his car got hit by the train that was coming and banged him off the tracks. Only everything was okay. His car was messed up, but he's still driving it. So maybe I will post on my Facebook and on Twitter. I don't really like using Twitter. What? Why don't I like using Twitter? Because nobody ever tweets me. No one ever contacts me. No one ever pays attention to my Twitter. So why do it? Anyways, I'm going to post up on my Facebook maybe the car that was hit and some other things. So look out for that on my Facebook. Just type in my name and you'll find me. Thank you for listening. What? Yes, that's what I'm getting to. You're listening to us here, www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. Our show starts at 10 o'clock. If you're just joining us, thank you and welcome. If you're listening to us in an archive show, because I do have my shows archived on YouTube, maybe you're listening to it up here. You can go to the website. It's www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com, like I said. And then Fridays at 10 o'clock, you can listen to the live show. We're kind of live. We are recorded, but we actually do the live show, and then it's put up there. So you got to find out what days we're live and what times we're live, and you can join us live. If you are listening to us live, the numbers this week, is down. They're updating it, but and while they update it, and the reason I say but, we're going to have it back next week for sure. I'm not going to let it go as long as it does. I'm not going to be without a number. It is my responsibility to give you people a number so you can call in, talk to me, and interact with the show. I don't want to take another break. No, I'm not going to take a break. No, I'm not going to do it. Why? Why did I got to take a break? No. So I'm going to stay there and continue to talk. We started off, if you're just joining us, maybe you're listening to us, maybe you just found us, about the police officers that have been doing assaults and stuff. And we got off that topic and that rant. Last week we did that. Go find a show for that if you want to. But now we're talking about background checks, because this, I read the paper, I go in, I'm going to say it again, I go into the mini mart and I look at the paper and I find out what's going on. Sometimes there's wonderful stories, sometimes there's not. And right on the cover page of 3 newspapers, one of them being the New York Post, Daily News, and the other one that I look at has, and I looked up online, and it also is there too, has the story of the teacher who is still working, even though they found that there is some sexual things in his background. But the picture they showed was just inappropriate. They showed the teacher with students and his hands around one of their waist area. And the other one, it looks like he is trying to hug. The photo kind of baffles me. It's sick. It's not right. It's not something that I would want to have on the cover of my newspaper to do a story. But if it sells the newspaper, that's what they're going to do. I don't really understand the pictures of these newspapers. I've looked that up before, and they will do any picture that will sell their newspaper. Now, I'm not saying this guy's guilty. Don't get that in your head. Okay? Get it in your head that what they said about him is wrong. Now, if he is guilty, then I'm saying that this is totally wrong, and they should act very quickly and act very stern, rough, act with an evil mind, if you will. An evil mind against this person. And, of course, he's probably in a teacher's union, so they're going to go to bat for him. And, of course, there's probably other people that are going to go to bat for him. So we may not be able to have him thrown out of his job right away. But if he's guilty, he should be out of his job. Definitely. And next year, he should not be teaching. Maybe earlier, I said he should be, he should be a janitor or something. Let's throw him out and live in a tent under a bridge somewhere, because that's what I think of this kind of crime. However, if he's not guilty, what should happen is maybe going after these people for saying that he did something wrong. And then that led into the discussion about background checks. And that's where we are now. Background checks. And we just found, by looking for a few random people that we know. Did you do it? What did you come up with? Yeah, see, they're not in the state they're in, right? Okay. And what did you find out? Oh, you got to pay. How much you got to pay? You got to pay $150 on the site that you went to. And the other site is $25. Whoa. $25? Oh, it's special for $25 to find the person. And then what? Oh, it doesn't say. Okay. So, after you find them, you can do a background check. But we're not sure of the price, right? And all of this was your credit card information. Wow, this is getting pretty interesting. Your credit card information, right? So not only that, but they have a background, or they have information about somebody that this person may not know, and now they have your credit card information. This is getting interesting. If anybody wants to comment, they can. Wild and Wacky Wade. Wild and Wacky Wade at yahoo.com. The Wild and Wacky Wade Show is what you're listening to. www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. If you're listening to us live, we thank you. If you're listening to our archives, we thank you. Tell your friends and family about us, too. Tell your friends and family that they can have information about them in a background check that they don't even know about online. What? What's the matter now? Oh, well, I said I didn't want to take a break. I just want to continue talking about this. I don't want to take another break. Do I have to? I have to. Why? I don't want to do it. I already took 2 breaks. What? All right. Well, then get up and take a break yourself. I can handle everything. Done it before. Done it before you ever came around here and they gave me you to work with. I realize that too. I am hard to work with. Anybody that knows me that I'm a pain in the ass to work with. Well, not in the ass, maybe in other parts of the body, but, pain in the nuts. Yeah. So, stories come in. Here we got 2 more stories here. Wild and Wacky Wade at yahoo.com. They said that they checked their background for a job to see if everything was okay and found something in their background that they did not know, and they asked for it to be checked and was denied. So now you can find something in your background. And here's another one just like it. Checked their background, found something, and could not resolve it. Okay. Kind of like your credit report. You find something, you can't resolve it. This is more serious because you could lose your job over it, or get fired over it, or get whatever over it. Maybe your wife leaves you or something. I don't know. Maybe your kids never speak to you again. I don't know. But this sounds pretty serious. That the stuff is in there, and if they find something, you can't go in there and say, hey, this is wrong. And it's wrong on A, B, C, D, and E, and F, and G, H, I, J, K. And let's go through the rest of the alphabet if you want to. And nothing can be done about it. They won't change it. What was that? I thought you went on a break. Okay, what was that? Oh, so they can. Oh, for a fee. So again, use your credit card, and again, pay them money for them to correct the issue. That's stupid. This is getting really interesting, folks. This is some conspiracy I haven't heard of before, and I'm glad I'm looking into it. Yes. Glad I'm looking into it. But it's time. All right. Well, I have to take a break now, I guess. So I've refused so many breaks, I have to take one now. When we come back, I'm going to look more information on the break, and I'm going to look at more information in this. I would take your phone calls, but this week, folks, the phones are not working. I'll go on more on that when we come back. We'll be right back. And we're back. Seems like these breaks are getting longer and longer. Are they? They're not? All right. Well, anyways, I looked up on the computer real quick for myself again, and I found myself about an hour away from where I am. And I found that I was living with a female, an unnamed female. I'm not living with an unnamed female. I don't have anyone, okay? What? Yeah, I have a daughter. Why do you have to be married to have a daughter? Oh, it's the proper thing to do. Well, that's a whole nother issue. What do you mean proper thing to do? Oh, proper people do that. So I'm not proper anymore. Is that right? Maybe I'll talk to management about your background. Maybe we'll have to see about this. Anyways, talking about resolving the issues in your background. They won't let you resolve it. They won't let you have anything of it. They won't let you talk about it unless you pay them. So then they have your credit card information. And I've gone through this several times on the program about backgrounds, how backgrounds can be used, how backgrounds can be audited, in other words, looked at and fooled around with, how background information can be used against you, but I've never talked about it in this area. And if you're joining the show, we're talking about, we started with a teacher who has a fishy background, and now we're talking about how they can get your background. And now I've talked about credit card information and credit card releasing and credit card, whatever they call it, spying, credit card misuse. So now they're using both of them. This background thing where you have to know what's going on because of online stuff, and now credit card stuff online. So now it's beginning to sound like a scam. So if you put all of this together, sounds like these things are scams, but people can do it. You can make a website, put any information you want on there. You can put PayPal to it. You can do other bank, I guess, to it, and have anybody pay for anything they want. You're listening to me here on WDBN, www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. If you're joining me for the first time, this is the Wild and Wacky Wade Show. You're listening to us on YouTube. we thank you. If you're listening to us live, we thank you. And if you're listening to us in the archives, we thank you. There, I did the spew. Are you happy? Pumping the station and everything else in the middle of my conversation. Why? All right, policy, I guess. All right. And I'm not allowed to put those funny little laughters and funny little words into what I say when I yell at my, what are you, helper? Annoyance? What do they call you? Oh, you're the one behind the board. All right. Does the phone work? No, the phone still don't work. So you can go up to diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. See, you're confusing me here. What do you want me to say to them? Oh, you want me to tell them that okay. Instead of the phone lines this week, what was it? Wait a minute. Pause here. What? Oh, they found a glitch in the phone system. And the 800 number is wrong and doesn't work. And there's a glitch in the system. This is what you found out when you just left and came back? All right. Well, there's a glitch in the system. Go up to Wild and Wacky Wade at yahoo.com and leave a message. www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com is where my live shows are every week. 10 p.m. on Fridays. If you're listening, hopefully there's people listening on YouTube, right? Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be affected because that's true. They just told me it wouldn't be affected because they're archived shows. All right, let's get back here. Background checks. Has anybody had any? Has anybody had an experience with it? We gotten a few emails. And most of them are telling me that when you do the background check, they can say anything they want about you. And one person pointed out here that even if there is something in your background and you want to dispute it, there is no way to change it. There's no way to dispute it. And I remarked it's just like your credit background, your credit report. There's no way to change anything, which I don't think is very cool. I think there should be a way to change something. There should be a way to find if there's something wrong. Or you can pay for it. You just found, right? Yeah, see? Or you can send in your credit card information. And they don't take all credit cards. So what do they take? American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discover. Well, that's all of them, right? Well, that's all of them that I know of. It says right in there they may not. Okay. One even asked for a money order in cash. I don't know why you'd send cash, but maybe if you're stupid enough to get the background off that site, you'd be sending them cash. Now, I'm not saying these things are bad. If you own a business, let's say you own a bus company or a cab company or a limo company, and you want to check a person's background in driving or their criminal background, or maybe you own a cleaning place like the night shift or what they call day cleaners. Two companies up in my area here. Where you go into somebody's establishment, either after hours, like, say like right now, they're closed, and you go in there and clean. Maybe they want to check your background to see if you're not fishy or you're weird or something. And, theft or crime or, just being that you're normal, and to give you the job. I mean, that could be good, but not if it's, $25, and we've gone up to what now? $350, okay? The price is getting higher. I always thought a background check was $200. There's different avenues you can go professionally that way. And I mean, maybe some of these sites are those professional sites, but there's got to be something in your background. How do you dispute a background? Maybe you don't dispute a background. Maybe your background is just that, your background, no disputing it, no questioning it. I used to think that after 10 years, stuff comes off, just like your credit report, and they can't find anything. However, I bet you they could. I mean, the court system, the criminal prosecuting system can find somebody's background all the way to their childhood, all the way up to their adulthood. So I'm sure there's a way to find something, and a way to change something, and a way to add something, or dispute something if there's something in your background. What? I suppose, yeah. What they just said was, they said, what happens if somebody robbed a gas station? Could they omit it? I imagine they could omit it. I imagine you could be doing stuff wrong and it not be in your background. If you could be doing stuff right and they put stuff in there that's just stuff. You know, either way, maybe you committed a crime and they leave it out of your background, and maybe you're innocent and you did not commit the crime and they put it in there. I don't know. There's got to be a way to get, check these things. And these agencies that are doing background checks, they got to be working with some kind of law enforcement, I would think. I don't think somebody just anywhere off the street. The old saying, off the street. Somebody anywhere, anytime, whoever they are, can just find your background and write up a website. I'm sure they have to be checked. At least in this state, New York State checks everything. Every little thing is checked. I'm checked, you're checked, everybody's checked. Some point in time, if you're alive and you're doing something, they're going to check on you. Well, yes, that's true. Well, how do they check and who does it? Fine. It's a question. If anybody out there knows the answers to these things, let me know. If you are somebody who does the checking, if you're somebody who knows in the system, so to speak, let me know. I'd like to know more information about this. We started with the teacher, and we've gotten now into the question if there's anything in my background, if there's anything in your background, anything in his or her background, maybe your wife's background, maybe your husband's background, maybe your children's background. Maybe it's wrong information, and you want to find out. Yeah, well, disputing it and paying for it is one. I'm not going to give them my credit card information just to take something off stuff. Maybe it's a lot. Maybe these sites don't go through that. I know the bus company, and the one they do around here is a professional agency that actually does background checks. They work with law enforcement, and they have everything in a database. So there's nothing illegit about it. There's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing evil going on behind closed doors, so to speak, about it. It's there. You can find out the same information, I guess. You used to be able to go to the sheriff's department or here our state trooper's office and get what they call a rap sheet, or basically a folder. It's given to you in a folder. I had to do it one time. When I applied for a taxi cab license. What? Yeah, I got the license, but I'm not going to go work as a cab driver for that company because they don't do things right. We're not going to get into it on the air, okay? Anyway, no, I don't want to talk about it. Let's save it for another show. So you go up to the state trooper's office or the sheriff's department or your local police department. Anyways, you go to the law enforcement office. They give you a folder with paper in it saying what's the stuff, and then you hand it into the employer with your application. It was very simple. It was, I think, $12, and that basically pays the person for an hour of typing it all up or something. But it's $12. It's through the law enforcement agency. There was actually an officer behind a desk who took my information, and then I had to pay the money, and then I waited 2 weeks, and the same officer that was behind the counter gave me the information. Maybe that's how they do it. Maybe they pay $12 and they go and get the information. Maybe this is what they did. The school system paid money, $12 here, and got a folder with information of it on the teacher's background. I mean, it makes more sense. send somebody over, maybe the mechanic from the bus garage. When you go out and check such and such bus, pick up some, this paperwork. All the time you see the city vehicles down there. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're picking up backgrounds on the city workers. The city workers, like the garbage man and the guy out there in the middle of the road filling the potholes and the guy over there playing with the sewer. You see their trucks all the time downtown down there. We're running into another break. Instead of a break, I'm just going to keep talking. Maybe we will take a break. It's almost the end of the show with all these breaks in here. 10 p.m. on Fridays, www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. Wild and Wacky Wade Show. We will be right back. And we're back. The whole show's been talking about this. Now I'm getting curious. Maybe I'll go up there and get my background and maybe read it. I don't know. Can you do that? Can you walk into the law enforcement and get the paper yourself and read it? I mean, I never looked at it. I just took it down to the company and wanted to get my license and handed it to them. Can they put it in a database? What do you mean? So what you're saying is I get one of these things. I take it down to the company. The company hands it to one of these people that make websites online. And now you're making it so nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to go to the sheriff's department and get their background and hand it into their employer because they're going to put it on a website. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's nuts. It's just, I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, is it even legal? What do you mean? You don't know. So, is it legal? We don't know. Now I'm the anxiety is acting up because now somebody could have my information and I don't know it. Now I've made myself worried about a topic. For the first time I'm worried about the topic. I'm worried for my own safety now. My family, my friends, people out there listening to my program right now. Your background information could be given to some site that doesn't deserve it, doesn't need it, doesn't have permission to have it. Making money off other people that want to know stuff about you. Wild and Wacky Wade at yahoo.com. The phone lines are down this week. We will have them up next week. Well, of course it's going to be the same number. Yes. Yeah, you keep asking me weird questions. Stay over there. I don't know. Some more sirens outside. So I don't know what's going on. But we're wrapping the show up now. We're wrapping it down to the end. I apologize for the phones not being here. I apologize for the show not being long enough for you folks, maybe. But this week is talking about our background. Don't know what's coming up next. They changed the whole lineup. And I was talking about the DJ earlier. I'll leave a note for him to play my favorite songs this week, and I guarantee you they won't be played. You want to make a bet? Why, you got no money? Yeah, see, you have no money to make a bet. See that? You're here and you make no money. Anyway, all right, folks. Well, Wild and Wacky Wade at yahoo.com, www.diversitybroadcastingnetwork.com. I will see all of you next week. I'm going to try my very best to do some research into this topic more. I'm going to try my very best not to go paranoid over this issue. And I'll bring you more information next week. Until then, have a wild time.